Hello everyone, welcome back to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi, dated 18th February 2026. Today again we will be discussing some important topics that has appeared in today's The Hindu and the Indian Express newspapers which are relevant for your examination. In the initial two topics, we have included two mains practice questions which will be useful for your upcoming mains examination. In the analysis section, in our first topic, we will try to understand various aspects of India-France relations. Then in the second topic, we will try to understand various challenges in India's police system and the measures to address the same. After that, keeping in mind the upcoming prelims examination 2026, we will discuss 5 important prelims pointers that will be highly useful for your preparation. So stay tuned. So let's start our discussion with the first topic, that is India-France relations. The context of this topic is that French President Mr. Emmanuel Macron is on a visit to India and Honorable Prime Minister Modi and French President has a meeting in Mumbai, and under that meet itself there are various initiatives that were announced by both the countries. We'll try to understand what is the relevance and significance of these initiatives which are announced, especially in the backdrop of current geopolitical complexities. This particular topic is related to your GS paper 2, effect of policies and politics of countries on India's interest. So we'll try to understand major outcomes. So first of all, the upgradation of ties which we are going to witness. For example, since 1998, both countries were sharing a strategic partnership, but now that has been elevated to special global strategic partnership as announced by Honorable Prime Minister Modi. And this status actually reflects the deeper long-term cooperation at the global level which both the countries will be actually doing. What is the difference between strategic partnership and special global strategic partnership? First of all, whenever two countries starts the formal diplomatic relations, they generally term their initial relations as a special relationship, which is a very close political, military and cultural relationships. Then slowly and gradually they elevate that to strategic partnership that shows the long-term cooperation that is focused on the strategic sectors like defense and security, trade, energy, etc. So the strategic partnership is the formal high-level cooperation in key strategic sectors that we have just discussed, that is the defense, trade, technology, energy, etc. Whereas the special global strategic partnership that shows an upgraded category that indicates the deeper and exceptional and globally aligned cooperation. That now it is clearly visible that both the countries, especially in this context, India and France, are having a special relationship which is different from the rest of the world. Also, if you talk about the depth of ties in the strategic partnership, it is strong, but it is limited to some of the major sectors like defense, trade, technology, etc. But special global strategic partnership actually is a very deep level of ties that both the countries are going to share, and they are also going to expand the sectors where both the countries will be having ties. They will not be limited to few sectors only. Also, if you talk about the geographical scope, generally strategic partnership is bilateral or it is based on the regional interest that some of the countries which are sharing borders or they are located near each other, these countries will be generally having the strategic partnership. Whereas in the special case of the special global strategic partnership, the cooperation extend to the global issues. For example, Indo-Pacific, that is a broader context and that is a broader level of relations that needs to be shared. Multilateral forums, global governance, etc. These will be the scope of the global strategic partnership. And that whenever a country says that this is the strategic partner, that also shows the importance of that country at the global level. But whenever the special global strategic partnership status is given, that also shows the special status and that also shows the deeper level of ties that we have just discussed. Okay. So here, when our relations has been elevated to this status, because it is guided by the horizon of 2047 roadmap that India has made, that India will become a developed country or Vikshit Bharat by 2047. And here, the relations between the countries will be very crucial in India's that journey. And that is one of the reasons why you are witnessing that in last few months itself, in a very efficient manner, India has finalized various trade deals. For example, India finalized the interim trade deal with United States. India had a free trade agreement with the European Union. We are also in the process to finalize the trade deal between with the Gulf Cooperation Council, etc. Because we are understanding that world is changing at a very rapid pace and we also needs to be in sync of that. We can't be lethargic, we can't be inefficient. And that is the reason whatever the goal that India has made, especially on the eve that when they will be completing 100 years since independence, at that point of time when we have made a target that we will be becoming a developed country, in that journey, the relations with some of the countries with whom we are sharing the strategic partnership will be very crucial. Also, annual foreign ministers comprehensive dialogue that both countries will be having, that is also announced under the recent meet itself. Also, most importantly, it is the defense cooperation, because India has bought the Rafale earlier from the France, and then they have also announced that they will be buying the 26 Rafale for the Marine or the for Indian Navy, 114 additional Rafales. So that shows that the greater level of integration that both countries are going to have, especially in the defense domain, especially in the defense sector. And the focus now is on co-design, co-development and co-production of defense system, that India is not only going to buy jets or defense equipments from the France, but rather India is constantly pushing for co-development, that we also want to know what technology you are using so that in future we can develop self-sufficiency or autonomy. Also, expansion of Make in India defense manufacturing, that will be the focus area, that will be also significantly focused upon when we are focusing on this co-design, co-development, co-production. For example, the initiatives that were announced, for example, MRO facility, that is maintenance, repair and overhaul centers that will be built in India, especially for the LEAP engine that is used in Airbus A320 Neo, and also that is used in Boeing 737 MAX, which is used in the civil aviation. Then M88 engine that is used for powering the Dassault Rafales that the India will also be getting. So in under this Dassault Rafales, we have this M88 engines that are used. So in India, we will have the maintenance, repair and overhaul facilities that will be developed. Also, the Hammer missile manufacturing that will be under the joint venture, that will be with the help of the Bharat Electronics, which is a PSU, public sector undertakings. Okay? And this is the one of the missile having the precision air to ground missile technology, missile use, and that will be used under Rafale also, that it will be on board Rafale jets, and this missile will be very effective, especially for the air to ground operations. For example, in future also, if we have to target some of the terrorist sites, so we need to precisely hit the area. So in that case, Hammer missile will be very effective. Also, H-12 helicopter for final assembly line with the help of Tata and Airbus. So here, as Honorable Prime Minister said, that this will be the helicopters that can be used till Mount Everest, that is the height that it can achieve. So light utility helicopter by the Airbus, the assembly line will be built in India also. Okay. Then also, we will have the continued Scorpion submarine cooperations with French interest in India's Pinaka, that is the multi-barrel rocket system that French have shown the interest. So both the countries will also be sharing the relation for the submarine development and also for the multi-barrel rocket system that India has developed with the name Pinaka rocket system. Then the other initiatives are on some of the emerging areas, emerging sectors, especially in the technological field. For example, there is a strong push in artificial intelligence for secure, trustworthy, people-centric artificial intelligence, that whatever the artificial intelligence, large language models are coming, or other components that we are witnessing related to artificial intelligence, they should follow the equity principle. They should not be biased toward any one country, any one religion or any one class, etc. Plus, the privacy and security, safety of the people should be paramount. Also, the cyber security cooperation and UN coordination that both the countries will be coordinating at the global forums also. The space cooperation, for example, space situational awareness, so that in future, whatever the challenges that the country may face, that can be addressed. And then in the area of the defense space also, both the countries are going to elevate their ties. India will also be attending the France International Space Summit that will be happening in the upcoming months in 2026 itself. And also nuclear and climate partnership, that cooperation across the nuclear value chain, especially for the large reactors as well as a small modular reactor, etc. So that nuclear energy can be expanded, because that is also one of the clean fuels renewable source, and that will also help us in reducing the overall carbon emissions, and also it will help in achieving the target of net zero by 2070. Also, on 15th August 2025, Honorable Prime Minister announced that India will be significantly improving its nuclear energy capabilities. And that is the reason France will be very crucial for achieving that target on the nuclear energy. Also, there has been the progress discussion on Jatapur nuclear power plant, which is in Ratnagiri district of Maharashtra. So this particular nuclear power plant is more than 10,000 megawatt. It was started way back, but still it is in developmental stage. So there has been discussions that how we can improve the overall progress of this particular plant in an efficient manner. Also, there has been joint commitment on the Paris Agreement, that is the global climate treaty, to limit the temperature rise if we compare with the industrial levels. And India and France will be cooperating on how we can reduce the overall emissions. Then Indian International Solar Alliance, which was jointly announced by India and France in 2015, and that is promoting the solar energy adoption, especially in the tropical countries. Then Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, CDRI. So that is for building climate resilient infrastructure globally, and also ocean governance, that cooperation on the marine protection and the rule based order. These are the focus area between both the countries. Then both the countries also announced certain initiative for multilateral and global governance. For example, France invited India to G7 summit that will be held in 2026, although India is not part of the G7 grouping. Also, strong French support for India's permanent UNSC membership, and coordination on UNSC reforms, that how they can be diversified, how it is not representing the current global geopolitical order. Also, rule-based Indo-Pacific, that also needs to be focused on, so that the different measures that are being taken, or different initiatives which other countries are taking, that is creating complexity, that is creating tensions. For example, string of pulse policy of the China. So both countries are saying that the use of the marine resources or use of the overall resources should be based on the rules. It should not be it is not the complete domain of any one country itself. Also, IMEC corridor and supply chain resilience. IMEC, that is India Europe Middle East corridor, India Middle East Europe economic corridor, IMEC, that will start from Mumbai and Mundra, and it will consist of various rail route and sea route that will further improve the overall connectivity between India and this Europe. Also, there was this international north-south transport corridor that was launched by India, and it will also consist of the standard route, the rail route, etc. So here again, this was the question that was asked in 2025. Please tell me the answer of this question in the comment box. So this India Middle East Europe corridor will consist of sea routes, rail network, energy pipelines, and also the digital cables. Key participating countries under this IMEC is India, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Israel, and European Union members like France, Italy, etc. And it is also supported by the USA. The main component are the Eastern corridor, that is connecting India to the Gulf countries, and North corridor, that is connecting the Gulf countries to Europe via rail network across the Middle East. And there are also port linking that is happening with the different ports of the Europe. Then people to people mobility, that is also focus area of the both the countries between India and France. And this is also very significant because recently there are visa restrictions by the United States. So that is also the reason that in that backdrop it becomes very important that we have certain better ties with certain other countries for the movement of the labor and capital. So under this people to people connectivity and mobility, we will have the pilot visa free transit for Indians via the French airports. And the target is 30,000 Indian students in France by 2030. And there are also cultural initiatives that are announced between the countries. For example, India-France Year of Innovation 2026. Museum and academic collaborations will also happen so that academic linkages between the countries can be further improved. Also, new AI-focused health research center will also be announced. The overall significance is that both the countries are going to expand ties beyond bilateral to global strategic coordination. It also will be covering the defense, technology, energy, climate, and global governance. And both the countries will be positioning as like-minded strategic partners in a fragmented world. Now, we'll try to understand that what are the historical dimensions which both the countries are sharing the relations. For example, defense cooperation, that is one of the most crucial aspects between both the countries. And India is one of the strongest defense partners of the France, and that is also now it is in line with the Atmanirbhar Bharat, especially with the announcement of various joint ventures, co-development, co-maintenance, etc., co-design that has been announced by both the countries. For example, Rafale fighter jets, for India is going to ink around $36 billion arm deal, and they are going to buy 114 Rafale jets from France, and more than 20 plus were already announced for the Navy. P-75 Scorpion submarine that will also improve the overall capabilities of Indian Navy. That is also the focus area. Then the major joint exercises both countries that they do, Varuna for the Navy, Shakti for Army, and Fringex for the Army. That also improves the overall interoperability of these forces. Then economic cooperation, for example, France is India's fifth largest trading partner in European Union. Bilateral trade was around $15.11 billion in the year 23-24, and that has doubled in the last decade. Then the UPI was also launched in France for the financial integration, and that was the question that was asked in 2025. The question was how many of above countries are the countries where UPI is accepted as the payment system. France was also one of the options. Also, latest entrant in that list where UPI is accepted as the payment system is the Qatar. Qatar is also now accepting UPI. FDI, France is the 11th largest investor in India. The around $10.94 billion was the FDI from 2000 to 2024, and that is around 1.61% of the total FDI flow in India. Then other cooperation are other areas of the cooperation between both the countries. For example, space cooperation, ISRO, which is India's space agency, and CNES, that is Centre National d'Etudes Spatiales. Okay? This is the French name. They are also collaborating on multiple missions. For example, Trishna, that is the joint satellite to monitor the climate using the thermal infrared technology. Then Megha Tropics 2011, that is the joint satellite for tropical weather and climate studies. Also, India keep on launching its various satellites from French Guiana, etc. Then climate cooperation, International Solar Alliance, that is co-founded by India and France in 2015 to promote the global solar adoption. It has also expanded significantly in last 1 decade since its launch. Then nuclear energy cooperation, 2008 civil nuclear agreement that both the countries are sharing. Jaitapur nuclear power project, which we are developing, but that is still in the developmental stage. And we are also in the planning stage to co-develop various small modular reactors, etc. under the strategic dialogue. Then the people-to-people ties which both the countries are having, 1.19 lakh people, diaspora is in France and mainly from the former French territories like Puducherry, etc. Now we'll try to understand the major challenges between the relations of both the countries. First of all, if we talk about the economic aspects, so there is still limited depth of economic engagement, although recently the free trade agreement between India and European Union was finalized. But still, if you look into this data, which is till 2021, this is the number of exports to Indian exports to France, and this is the number for French exports to India. So also, if you see the year-on-year increase or decrease between the trade of both the countries, there is no consistent growth that we are witnessing. Consistently, there has been an haphazard growth that we are seeing. Although, with the free trade agreement which is signed between European Union and India, there will be significantly better market access of both the countries. For example, the tariffs on automobiles, etc. has been significantly reduced. So that will ensure that more and more exports of automobiles, etc. are coming from European Union to India. Plus, with regard to various other commodities, France also decrease its overall tariffs, and that will lead to better market access for Indian products like textiles, etc. But still, there is an scope that we can further deepen this tie from the free trade agreement to comprehensive economic partnership agreement. Also, bilateral trade with the France is much lower than with the Germany and some other European countries. So that is also one of the reasons that we can further take the overall potential to an higher level in this particular economic aspect. Then the trade imbalance and the IPR concerns. For example, France majorly enjoys the trade surplus with India. For example, with this number also you can say. So India need a better market access, and probably that will be done with the help of the free trade agreement that we have finalized. French firms also raise concerns over the intellectual property protection in India that also significantly impact the overall investment, trade, etc. Also, there are concerns regarding, for example, comprehensive border adjustment mechanism, which was announced by European Union, that further limits the market access, especially for the sectors like cement, steel, etc. in the European Union and also in the France. Also, there are certain stalled or slow projects where the progress of the project is very slow. For example, the Jatapur nuclear power project, which started way back, but still it hasn't been completed yet. Also, differences in geopolitical approaches, for example, divergence on Russia-Ukraine conflict, that France is having a strong criticism of Russia because of its inherent tilt toward the USA, whereas India is maintaining a balance that it is against the violence, it focuses on strategic autonomy approach, it doesn't take a complete side. Also, differences in outlook on China's Belt and Road Initiative and regional strategy. So, both the countries are having differences in some of the sectors. Then there are certain emerging global tensions, for example, conflicts and instability that is affecting strategic priorities. For example, West Asia conflicts, Russia-Ukraine war, China's assertiveness in Indo-Pacific, for example, a string of pearls, etc. that we see. So, because of this conflicts and priorities that are happening in the overall world, that further creates complexity for both the countries to maintain a consistent relation. And that also may create policy divergences or the strategic pressures for both the countries. What is the path ahead? What is the future? What is the way forward? First of all, there is a greater scope for enhancing trade, investment and technology flows, especially in the new age technologies and emerging areas like artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, big data analytics, etc. Also, we can implement migration and mobility agreement that can facilitate the movements of students, professionals and skilled workers, and that will ensure that these people are having better opportunities for career and growth. Joint actions against the irregular migration that can be also tackled well, especially the donkey routes, etc. Also, boosting trade and investment, we can promote joint ventures, especially in the defense, etc., where still we are only limited to maintenance, repair and overhaul. The companies like Saffron, etc., who are going to play an important role for India's next generation fighter jets that is going to be built. So we need to ensure that we have the strategic autonomy that is being maintained. For example, GE Aerospace, which is a company from USA that supplies or that is going to supply and that is also supplied to some extent the engines for the Tejas aircraft, which is a light combat aircraft. But still there has been consistent delay on supplying the engines to Tejas, and that is one of the reasons there has been consistent delay with regard to the delivery of Tejas. So if we have to maintain the strategic autonomy, in that case we will have to focus on the manufacturing in India itself. We have to focus on Atmanirbhar Bharat or Make in India. We can expand cooperation in emerging sectors that we have just discussed. Apart from artificial intelligence, clean energy, energy security, renewables, etc. are the area which can be also focused upon. Also, fast tracking of the stalled projects. For example, we can create joint working groups for monitoring so that there can be a proper oversight mechanism with the help of which we can complete our projects in a time-bound manner. Also, there is need for expediting the projects like Jatapur nuclear plant, which are very crucial for India's overall strategic autonomy and energy security. This is a mains practice question that you people can write from this particular topic. Our next topic is need for police reforms in India. The context of this topic is that a write-up has appeared discussing various aspects of police reforms in India, and this is related to syllabus of your GS paper 2, executive government policies and interventions. The writer says that the Supreme Court of India criticized the measures by various state government who are appointing ad hoc Director General of Police. And that is also the disregard of the Prakash Singh judgment, which says that there should be a minimum fixed tenure of the 2 years for the DGP and also the key operational officers like SP, SHO, etc. What is this? What are the different directives and recommendations that were given under the Prakash Singh judgment that we will be seeing in the due course? First of all, what is the constitutional status? So the police and public order that comes under the state subject that is provided under the 7th schedule of the constitution. Okay. If you talk about the numbers, about the data, so the police population ratio is around 197 police per 1 lakh population as per the data given by the Bureau of Police Research and Development BPRD 2022. But this 197 police officers are bearing various responsibilities. First of all, they will have to take care of the bandobast duty of the VIPs, or they have to take care of their security. They will have to make all the arrangements related to traffic, etc. They will also have to investigate case related to the crimes that has happened. They are also bearing the responsibility of the maintenance of the law and order. So that is the reason this number is overburdened, and that is the reason we see the slow progress of the investigation, the poor maintenance of the law and order. And also UN recommended benchmark that is there, that is around 222 per 1 lakh, and still in India that is much less. Women in police, that shows that police is one of the domain that is inherently male dominated because of the inherent patriarchy that says that the instrumental roles like the army, military, police, etc., that is more suitable for men, whereas expressive roles that are more suitable for the females. That is said by the inherent patriarchy. But females are the pilots of the fighter jets. Females are leading the various important organizations, etc. So this particular notion is completely false. Now, as per the data from Ministry of Home Affairs, 11.7% of the total police strength belongs to the women itself, as this was the data of 2022, and the target of Ministry of Home Affairs is to increase this to around 33%. Then the custodial deaths, the data related to custodial deaths. For example, there are various judicial inquiries that were done by the National Crime Record Bureau NCRB that says that around 6 to 5 jail custodial deaths happened in 2022. Also, number of police stations, that are around 17,957 police stations in 2022 as per the Bureau of Police Research and Development. There has been several initiatives which were taken by the states and at the national level also. For example, smart policing nationwide, that calls for vigilant, efficient and attentive tech-savvy policing. Automated multi-modal biometric identification system, that is the Maharashtra's initiative. Real-time visitor monitoring system, that is the initiative of Andhra Pradesh, to check for the people who are visiting the police station, to curb the issue of the custodial deaths, etc. Then the Cyber Dome, which is a technology research and development center in Kerala to ensure that the new age challenges and emerging challenges like cyber security, etc., that are coming, they can be tackled well. However, there is the need for reform. For example, as of now, the police is being managed with the help of the Police Act of 1861, which shows the colonial legacy. Time and again, there has been certain amendments that were done in this act, and that is fulfilling the overall need. For example, we had the IPC and CRPC, which were replaced by BNS and BNSS, and that is now in tune with the current needs of the India. The custodial violence and deaths that are constantly reported, lack of accountability mechanisms, for example, in the case of the people, even in the case of custodial deaths, fake encounters, etc., because of the lack of proper evidences, people are getting released from the court cases and from the conviction. Political interferences which are visible, especially in the recent past, there has been various videos which we could see in the public domain. For example, the political executives are giving clear directions, and that to oral directions in the public meetings itself. Also, the poor gender sensitivity, for example, lack of female police officers in the sensitive areas, in the sensitive cases, lack of proper mindset with these officers to go for proper counseling, especially in the sensitive cases like rapes, etc. The communal and caste bias allegations which these people, which the police forces faces, and absence of a comprehensive anti-torture law in India. So, we'll talk about the major challenges which are being faced by the police officers in India. The colonial mindset that police is not there to help the citizen, rather it is to manage them. That inherently the police, the Britishers were of the view that they have to regulate people, they have to manage people. They were not there for the welfare of the citizens. So still there is this legacy that is being continued. That is one of the reasons people are not very comfortable while talking with the police officers, while visiting the police stations, etc. The approach, that is the force-centric approach. For example, excessive force can also at times can lead to custodial torture. And as per the Status of Policing in India report 2025, 30% personnel supported third degree methods even for the minor theft cases, because there is a poor investigation mechanism, because there is poor technology that the police officers and the police have. So it becomes very difficult for them to get the proper evidences without using these coercive methods. And this is the reason you can see the number of cases registered in respect of custodial deaths in police custody from 2018-19 to 20 to 23 as per the data from NHRC. All India it is 687, and consistently in states like Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh and UP, Bihar, these are the states where we have seen a lot of cases in respect of the custodial deaths. Trust deficit with the public, that there is a fear among the marginalized group. For example, the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, OBCs, and especially the people belonging to the marginalized section with regard to the economic terms. Historical discrimination, for example, there are certain tribes who were designated as the criminals itself. So there are the cases, there are actions that are taken against them with the inherent notion that they are the criminals. Weak community intelligence and the poor crime prevention, that the community intelligence is very poor, because it becomes really difficult for the community to report any untoward incident, because in the case that when they understand that tomorrow they may also have to suffer with the litigation, with the regular visit to the police station. So that is the reason there are times when you see that people deliberately choose not to report any crime or give any evidence or give any other information to the police officers. And that leads to poor crime prevention, because we have to understand that we are having one of the largest populations in the world, and with the current number of police officers that are there, it is really difficult to manage. So until and unless there will be a proper civic participation, it will be very difficult for us to manage the overall law and order and crime. Then outreach models that are there, for example, Jan Mathri in Kerala, Mohalla committees in Maharashtra, they are the rare exceptions with the help of which the police officers, the police was able to ensure that the people are comfortable. There is a proper trust and communication between the people and the communities. Excessive workload and the personal shortage that I was discussing, that low police population ratio is there. They are overburdened, they are overworked. For example, around 24% work over 16 hours. They are living in the police stations itself. There is poor facilities for the recreational activities. The places where they are living, they are also not equipped with the proper amenities, and long duty hours further take a toll on their mental health and the personal lives. Also multiple non-policing routine tasks that are also given to them, and over 44% work for over 12 hours, and average work day is around 14 hours itself. Similarly, other challenges, poor infrastructure and technology gaps. For example, the weak forensic capacity, poor training, cybercrime gap and faulty investigation that leads to case backlogs. Forensic shortages, for example, 0.33 experts per 1 lakh versus 20 to 50 in many countries. Then we have the political interference also, for example, transfer control, lack of autonomy, partisan policing, pressure in sensitive areas that leads to the further reduced efficiency and motivation for the police officers. For example, there was this 2019 study that says that 72% officers faced political pressure in cases involving influential persons to take cases in that direction in which the influential person wants. And also, this is visible from the fact that when they have the poor capacity, they further adds to the overall custodial deaths, and this is also the data related to the state-wise custodial death. The poor technology, poor infrastructure. For example, there is poor lack of CCTV facilities in the police stations. That further complicates the issue. Then there are certain committees and commissions on the police reforms. For example, Gore Committee that came in 1971 that said that there should be professional service oriented policing that should focus on the human rights, because that is a fundamental right provided to the citizens under the part 3rd of the Constitution. And there should be focus on ethical training, that we should ensure that the methods that are being used by the police officers, they are in sync with the human rights of the people, basic rights of the people. Then National Police Commission of 1977-81 that called for separating the investigation from law and order, fixed the tenure for the senior officers like DGP of the police force, SP of the police force, and there can be a new model police act that can come by the government, and that with the help of that, state government can also come with their dedicated acts for the policing, because police is a state subject, comes under the 7th schedule of the constitution. Then Ribeiro Committee of 1998 and Padmanabhiya Committee of 2000, that again called for independent oversight bodies to look up to the functions of the police. Modern training with better technology, with better arms and ammunitions. For example, during routine checks at the arms centers, etc., it has came to the light with the help of various VTOs that personals are not able to handle arms properly. We need to promote the community policing also, that will help in crime prevention. Then Malimat Committee of 2003, that will strengthen the forensics and investigations. Central Agency for the Federal Crimes can be there, and also there can be proper witness protection, that will also help in more participation of the people towards community policing. Then Prakash Singh versus Union of India case of 2006, that gave for the 7 directives. For example, it said that there should be a state security commission that will ensure police act without the political pressure, and that will frame the broader policy. Then there will be a police establishment board that will decide the transfer, posting, promotions below the SP rank. So that will also limit the chances of biasness in the transfer postings, etc. And police complaints authority at districts and state level, that will ensure that there will be a proper time bound inquiries that will be done towards the complaints of the serious misconduct against police. National Security Commission, that will be for selection and placement of chiefs of central police organizations. State Selection Committee for the DGP, that there will be a merit based selection from UPSC impaneled officers, and there should be a minimum 2-year tenure for the DGP of the police force. Separation of investigation and law and order wing, for example, independent investigation staff for better professionalism. Minimum fixed tenure of 2 years for DGP and key operational officers like SP or a station house officer, SHO for any police station, etc. Model Police Act of 2006 and NHRC of 2021, that was further emphasizing on autonomy, accountability and regulation of surveillance. Smart Policing of 2015, that should be technology driven, accountable, responsive and community oriented policing should be there. Also, there are some globally recognized policing case studies. For example, the Koban system of Japan, where there is a deep community trust that people are not hesitant in sharing any information with the police. There is a proper trust. They are not hesitant. Also, there are permanent beat posts where people come and talk. They share their problem. Also, door-to-door policing is there. But again, this kind of system is possible in the countries where population is little manageable. Then UK, where neighborhood teams are there, problem solving with the public, that is focused on community policing, incorporation of the people to tackle the challenges. Local policing teams and community meetings are also done. In USA, Comstat is there, that with the help of the data and etc., we manage the overall crime. There are crime analytics that are available, dashboards are available, and that helps in data driven accountability. Then Singapore, under that smart policing is there, that leads to tech enabled efficiency. For example, integrated surveillance and command centers are there, that there is a proper watch that is kept with the help of CCTVs, etc., and whenever any kind of incident is highlighted, that is tackled in a time bound manner. Then the reforms that are needed to improve the effectiveness of policing in India. For example, full implementation of the Supreme Court directives. There should be institutional autonomy that should be provided to them. Then the State Security Commission should be there, that will ensure that police act with any of the political pressure, and that will also frame the broader policy guidelines for the policing. Also, there should be proper policy oversight, and that will help in misuse prevention. Create independent state security commission that we have discussed. Police complaints authority at state and district level with the statutory powers to look into the complaints of the serious misconduct against police. Strengthening internal accountability. For example, the transfers and postings should be based on the objective criteria in a transparent manner. Merit based posting should be there. For example, the number of cases that are solved by the any officer, and accordingly the transfer and posting should be given. Regular performance audits should be done to get an idea about the lacunas that are there, about the issues that are being faced. And outcome based policing should be there, that whatever the policing that is being done, that is leading to visible improvements on the ground. Empower the police establishment boards, use objective metrics like public satisfaction, crime prevention and investigation quality. Then the functional specialization, for example, there we can have the dedicated wing for the investigation and law and order, and separate wing for the bandobast duty or VIP management, etc. We can also upgrade the cybercrime units and forensic labs, and that is the reason cybercrime thanas, etc. are being established by various states like Uttar Pradesh. We can implement nationwide national grid or NAT grid for integrated security databases. Institutionalizing community policing, for example, police public partnership will help in trust building. Grassroots intelligence will come, and it will become much easier for the police to solve various cases, and that will lead to inclusive policing, that policing services are being provided based on the needs of the people. Then structured community policing programs can be there. Police as service model, for example, citizen charter, social media grievance redressal can be there. We can also address new age security challenges with the help of specialized crime units, pan-India coordination, inter-agency data sharing and joint operations by the state police forces to ensure that the new age threats like terrorism and other important cases that are coming, they can be tackled in an effective manner. This is a mains practice question that you people can write from this particular topic. Moving towards our prelims pointers section that we have introduced considering your upcoming prelims examination 2026. There the topic is front of package labeling and FSSAI. This is related to GS paper 2 executive and health, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu page number 8. So the front of package warning labels that is given by the Supreme Court, there are various directions that are given by the Supreme Court. That Supreme Court directed the FSSAI to consider mandatory front of package warning labels on the foods that are high in sugar, especially the soft drinks, etc., chocolates, biscuits, cookies, etc., salt, and as well as the saturated fat, because they are one of the important causative factors for rising cardiovascular diseases and non-communicable diseases. And this is something that has been highlighted by the economic survey of this year also, that overall the health concern related to the non-communicable diseases is increasing. For example, approximately 63 to 65% of the overall deaths are because of the non-communicable diseases, and around 25% of these deaths occur prematurely between the age of 30 and 70, and that also severely impacts the working age population. The main aim of these directions is to protect right to health and curb rising non-communicable diseases. The FSSAI asked to submit response within 4 weeks. Earlier in 2025, the court had directed an expert committee to suggest changes to the Food Safety and Standard Labeling and Display Regulations 2020. For example, whenever you buy a packet of chips or you buy a packet of biscuit, you clearly see the protein content, the minerals content, sodium, potassium, etc. that is there. Along with that, the content of saturated fat, unsaturated fat, content of trans fat, etc. Also, they will give you an idea about the ingredients that are used, some of the other chemicals that are used like preservatives, sodium benzoate, etc. that is used. All information has to be mandatorily on the packaging of any particular ready to eat food that we are having or the snacks, etc. that we are having. And in Feb 2026, court expressed dissatisfaction with the slow progress of the directions. The issue of contention is that FSSAI proposed an Indian nutritional rating model, whereas the petitioner are opposing it, saying it was not aligned with the global standards. The main logic of this Indian nutritional rating model is that the food that is high in sugar, salt and saturated fat, they are linked to the cardiovascular diseases, non-communicable diseases like diabetes, hypertension. And also, if you talk about this data from ICMR and INDI AB 2023, that says that there are more than 101 million cases of diabetes and 136 million cases of pre-diabetes and 35.5% cases of the hypertension. And the major reason why this is happening, why? Because the lifestyle changes that we are witnessing, that people are not getting time to cook in their kitchens, people are not getting time to ensure that they can take care of their health properly, to get food properly, especially the nutritious foods like fruits, vegetables, they are not eating. They are dependent on the snacks, and that too they are eating without any due diligence. And these kind of directions will ensure that there are informed consumer choices. The person, whenever they will see that this particular packet of chips is having trans fat, so person will not have it. Also, this will promote the preventive healthcare, and it will process the ultra processed food industry towards the transparency and shifting towards the healthy choices. This FSSAI is a autonomous body under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. This is the most important information, because generally it is believed that this will be under some other ministry, but FSSAI is under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Now you people tell me in the comment box that Enforcement Directorate comes under which ministry. Please tell me in the comment box. And this was the question that was asked in 2025 prelims examination. And this FSSAI is established under the Food Safety and Standards Act of 2006. That shows that it is a statutory body, which is a consolidating statute or law related to food safety and regulations in India. The vision of FSSAI is to build a new India by enabling citizens to have safe and nutritious food, preventing disease, and also to lead a healthy and happy life. The mission of this FSSAI is to ensure that there is need to set globally benchmark standards for food, and also encourage and ensure that food businesses adhere to these standards, adopt good manufacturing and hygiene practices, and ultimately enable citizens to access safe and right food. And under this act, these are the functions. For example, they will lay down the standards and guidelines in relations to the articles of food and specify appropriate systems for enforcement, specifying the limits of additives, contaminants, and pesticides, veterinary drug residues, heavy metals, processing aids, mycotoxins, antibiotics, pharmacological active substances, and irradiated foods, etc. that are used. Also, whenever we have to import the genetically modified foods, again there are FSSAI regulations, and there is need for the consent of the FSSAI to import the genetically modified food. They also lay down the food labeling standards including the claim on health, nutrition, and they will also specify the dietary uses that are what portion should be taken by the person, laying down the procedure and guidelines for accreditation of certification bodies and laboratories, prescribing the procedures and enforcement of quality control in relation to any imported articles of food in India, including the genetically modified food. Also, there are certain initiatives by FSSAI to ensure that there is healthy choices that are being made by the people. Eat Right India initiative, that is a comprehensive initiative to promote safe, healthy and wholesome food. Then you have the RUCO, that is repurposed used cooking oil, that is an initiative to collect and convert used cooking oil into biodiesel. Then FOSTAC, that is food safety training and certification program to train food handlers and improve the hygiene practices. Also, there is Diet for Life initiative, which is an awareness campaign about metabolic disorders and healthy eating. Next topic is 2 digital initiatives to boost health AI ecosystem launched. This is related to GS paper 2 health and GS paper 3 IT and computers, and this has appeared in today's The Hindu page number 13. So there has been launch of strategy for AI in healthcare for India SAHI and benchmark open data platform in health AI BODH. These are the 2 initiatives that are launched. And what are these? These are actually announced during the India AI Impact Summit, and the main aim of these initiatives is to ensure safe, ethical and evidence-based deployment of AI in India's healthcare ecosystem is visible. Also, this Secure AI for Health initiative, that is not just a technology program, but it will also act as a governance framework that how we are going to manage the overall healthcare infrastructure, what will be the preventive strategy, how we are going to tackle the patient overload, etc. Policy compass, that in what ways we can judge the success or the failure or underperformance of any policy. Also, national roadmap for AI in healthcare, that how we can ensure that we can provide the telemedicine facilities, how we can ensure that the accessibility of the healthcare products can reach to the people in an efficient and transparent manner. And it also guides India in responsible use of AI, which is following the equitable principle, which also ensures that privacy of the people remains intact, because healthcare data is also one of the important aspect of the overall privacy. For example, few years back there was an cyber attack on the AIIMS server, so that can undermine the privacy and personal data of the people. The core principles of this responsible use of AI is that it is ethical, it is transparent, it is accountable, and it is people centric. That it is not biased, it is not taking decisions based on some preconceived notion. Also, it supports development of trustworthy and inclusive health AI ecosystem. Then this benchmarking open data platform for health AI board that is developed through collaboration between government and academia, that also provides a structured mechanism to test AI solutions, to validate performance, and also to assess the reliability, and also to ensure real world readiness, that all the AI models that we are using in health, whether they are going to perform effectively whenever they will have to deal with some kind of contingency. For example, COVID-19 came. So in future, again, unfortunately, such kind of incident may happen. So whether these AI ecosystem are ready to deal with such situations or not. Also, this ensures rigorous evaluation before large scale deployment to ensure that there is a proper, responsible, ethical, transparent, accountable, and people centric AI response for the needs of the people. Our next topic is apple industry. This is related to your GS paper 3, major crops and cropping patterns. So some of the apple growers in India are concerned because of the fact that India has already finalized several trade deals with the countries like United States, with which we have the interim trade deal. We have finalized a free trade agreement with the European Union. And because of that reason, the imports from these countries with regard to the apple imports will become much cheaper, because India has opened the market for the apple imports. So now they are concerned about the fact that now they will face more competition from these imported apples. And that is the reason the demand of Indian apples or the remuneration and profitability of these apple growers might be jeopardized. And this particular topic has appeared in today's The Hindu, page number 14. So apple, which is a temperate fruit crop and it is a deciduous tree. In India, the growing zones are that they are mainly grown in Himalayan high altitude regions where altitude creates the temperate climate. For example, it is grown in Jammu and Kashmir, it is grown in Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, etc. The soil type that is required for a proper growth of apple is that it requires well-drained, fertile and loamy soil. The ideal soil pH is 5.5 to 6.5 for the proper growth of the apple. And optimum summer temperature is around 21 to 24 degrees Celsius during active growth. The winter requirement, it requires cool winters that is needed especially for the dormancy. The ideal altitude for this is around 1500 to 2700 meter above sea level. Rainfall, that it requires 1000 to 1250 mm annually, well distributed rainfall. Excess rainfall can impact the flower drop and there can be certain fungal disease that can also happen. Also, if there is waterlogging that is happening near the roots, so there can be certain roots diseases that can also happen. And if excessive rainfall will be there, that can also impact the overall fruit quality. The sunlight, that it requires full sunlight for the color and the sweetness. And if you talk about the top 6 apple growing states and union territories in India, it is Jammu and Kashmir. Then subsequently we have other states like Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, etc. Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland and Tamil Nadu. And if you talk about the overall global production of the apple, if you take the data of 2023, China is the largest producer and subsequently United States, Turkey, Poland, etc. are the countries which are the largest producers of the apple. Now this was the question that was asked in 2024 with regard to the apple imports itself, that Kashmir Valley's growers are anxious as import duties decreased. That earlier also there has been a duty that was decreased on the US apples. So that has made the Indian growers, especially the Kashmir Valley's growers, anxious. Okay. Now the first statement was India does not import apples from United States of America. This is what I keep on telling to the students, that UPSC is not testing only your bookish knowledge. Rather, they are testing that how well you are observing your surroundings. Do you know about the environment, about the country, about the state, about the area where you are living or not? For example, Washington apple is readily available on Swiggy, Instamart, Zepto, Blinkit, etc. It is available in the grocery stores also. There are certain stickers that are also available on those apples, country of import USA. By looking into your surrounding itself, you can get the answer of this question, that first statement is incorrect because Washington apple is readily available. So that means India does import apples from United States of America. Out of these 4 options, only option where it was given that statement 1 is incorrect, that is your statement D, statement 1 is incorrect, where it is clearly written. Even if you don't know anything about statement 2, still you can get the answer of this question, that was your statement. Option D, statement 1 is incorrect and statement 2 is correct. Statement 2 says that in India, the law prohibits the import of genetically modified food without the approval of competent authority. We have just seen that there are FSSAI regulations, and only after we get the approval, we can import these genetically modified food. This is what I keep on telling to the students. Please analyze the previous year questions properly. Please look into the language that is being used by the UPSC. They are giving you hints in the questions itself. Here they are not testing your technical knowledge. They are just testing that whether you are reading all the statements attentively with the proper focus and concentration or not. Next topic is AI Mission 2.0. This has appeared in today's The Hindu, page number 15, and this is related to GS paper 3, IT and computers, robotics. So IT Minister Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw said in a briefing about the AI Impact Summit, and also he talked about the AI Mission 2.0, which will be the second phase of India's national AI mission, focusing on research and indigenous AI models and large-scale adoption, and after building initial compute infrastructure. Also, announcements are that 20,000 additional GPUs or graphic processing units, which are the specialized electronic circuit that is actually designed to rapidly manipulate memory and accelerate the rendering of images, videos and 3D graphics. And this actually improves the overall processing time that earlier CPU was taking. And 20,000 additional GPUs to be added to the National Common Compute Cluster to be deployed within about 6 months, and total compute capacity to cross 38,000 plus GPUs or graphic processing units. The main focus area will be to shift towards research and development. For example, focus will be on core AI research. For example, one of the meet which was taken by the Honorable Prime Minister with regard to the stakeholders from AI sector. There also he emphasized on the point that we do not want the AI toys, rather create something significant from the AI. Also, development of indigenous foundation models like large language models, etc. AI diffusion across sectors, for example, expansion of AI use in MSMEs, agriculture, healthcare, education and governance, which are very important for the overall development of India as well as towards the journey of 2047. These sectors are going to play a prominent role. So that is the reason we need to integrate AI with them to increase their overall efficiency and productivity. Also, a UPI like AI platform, which will be sector specific and ready to use AI solutions we can get. The aim is that we can expand the AI to the mass, that people can understand and use AI properly, which will be similar to digital payment success. The investment outlook is that government expects up to $200 billion in AI investment across the AI ecosystem in next 2 years. Our next topic is Strait of Hormuz, which is related to syllabus of your prelims, current events of national and international importance, and this has appeared in today's The Indian Express, page number 1. If you talk about the geographical location of Strait of Hormuz, it is lying between Iran and Oman and UAE. This is Strait of Hormuz, and here you can see in the north it is Iran and in south it is UAE and the Oman. Also, it is connecting water bodies, that is your Persian Gulf in west and Gulf of Oman or Arabian Sea in east. This is your Persian Gulf in west, and this is your Gulf of Oman, and subsequently it is the Arabian Sea, and here you have the Gulf of Oman and this is your Persian Gulf. So this actually strait is connecting these water bodies. Also, it is a navigable channel which is 2 miles each direction with a 2-mile buffer zone. And it is one of the important location for daily oil flow. That means around 20 million barrels per day is overflowing from this strait. That is around 20% of the global consumption. Major exporting countries of oil from this zone is your Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE and Qatar. And major importing countries are the China, India, Japan, South Korea. And any disturbance in this region can actually choke this point, and subsequently it can also impact the overall oil flow. Also, governance, for example, it lies within the territorial waters of Iran and Oman, and it is governed by transit passage rules under the UN clause. The 1982 United Nations Convention on Law and of the Sea and which entered into force in 1994 is the binding international treaty establishing the legal framework for all ocean, space, marine resources and maritime activities. For example, it defines zones like 12 nautical mile territorial sea, 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone, and it also gives an idea about the use, that what can be the use that can be done in territorial water and exclusive economic zones. Also, it is having a strategic importance because it is world's most critical oil choke point, and disruption can impact the global energy markets as well as global energy security. Some of the important ports which are near are Bandar Abbas, Iran, and Fuzariya in UAE. These are the important ports near this strait. That is all from today's analyst. Thank you very much. All the very best. Keep studying.